Hello, Money Queens and listeners. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions. Let's meet the women behind the millionaires, the women supporting, guiding, celebrating women with their wealth. You will hear from women millionaires, how they got there, what they wish they had known, what got them to be a millionaire, the emotional side, the spiritual side, the practical side of wealth. You'll also get to meet the women behind the scenes helping make it happen. Let's dive into Women Behind the Millions. I am Jessica Weaver, your host, best-selling author of 3 books, wealth advisor, and founder of the Women's Wealth Boutique. Let's start meeting the women. Hello, ladies. Welcome to Women Behind the Millions, our newest season of, you guessed it, our Financial Trendsetters 2.0 season, where we are going to meet the trailblazing, innovative, iconic legacy ladies of the industry, really women pushing the boundaries. I am so excited. We raised another $5,000 towards our Financial Trendsetters Scholarship Fund. The recipient will be announced very shortly. Hopefully we'll be able to do it on this season itself. We already started to raise money for next year's scholarship. We're going to be putting up codes so that you can donate as well to it, because we are getting more women in the industry. We are keeping more women here because, let's face it, women, we make up about 20% of advisors, and that number hasn't changed in 3 decades. So we partnered with an incredible woman. You've seen her before. You know her. You love her already. Leslie Lipscomb, Senior Vice President of Financial Dependence Group. And she is the lead author of our newest Financial Trendsetters book. So let's bring to stage, let's not waste any time tonight. Let's bring Leslie up here. Hello, Leslie. How are you tonight?
Hello, Jessica Weaver. I am wonderful. Thank you for hosting me yet again on Women Behind the Millions. I'm so grateful to be here.
One of our favorite returning guests here, a huge advocate for us at the Wealth Boutique. So huge, always big thank you to you, for FIG, for seeing our vision and helping us put it to life, and being that genuine, I always just about, let's say, the genuine person in the industry, supporting us, not just us, but bringing so much good women into the industry and helping them thrive too, which is a big thing as well. What makes you want to bring more women into the industry, would you say, Leslie?
Well, one of my reasons is actually kind of selfish, but I'm going to be honest and share it with you. So for me, being in an industry as a woman that is totally dominated by men, my ability to partner with women, it's very different. So the reality is, when I host a man here in Cornelius, North Carolina, where our home office is, he stays in a hotel. When I host one of my female advisors, she stays at my house, and we get to go to dinner, and we get our PJs on, and we have a glass of wine on our sofa, and conversations are different. The women that I have the ability to serve, the conversations are they're deeper, and sometimes they're more meaningful, and the relationship is different. So I'm very passionate selfishly about being able to have those close relationships and connections with the female advisor population that we have the ability to serve. But also, I think, and we all know, that there's going to be a huge transfer of wealth over the next decade to women. And women want to work with people that look like them and people that understand them and can meet them where they are. So understanding what's coming, and that is, again, that transfer of wealth, more and more women controlling wealth in the United States. They're going to want to be served by other women. So having the ability to partner with those women that are, just like you, Jess, able to serve other females within this country is very important to me.
Yes, and that wealth transfer, it's right around the $124 trillion mark, give or take $1 trillion by 2048. So we got 20 years, ladies, right? We got 20 years to get ourselves ready for it too. In your introduction to Financial Trendsetters, you have an incredible opening chapter, but you say about these ladies, the discipline, focus, grit, love that word, grit, determination, limitless, another favorite of mine, are some of the attributes you say about the trendsetters. Talk to us about these incredible women.
Wow. So when I think about a lot of the women that I have the ability to work with that are just like these trendsetters, I feel like so many of them feel like they have a lot to prove. Like they have a lot to overcome in this industry, given that they are this tiny population of this big industry that, again, is often dominated by people that don't look like them. So that limitless, I love that word because so many of the women that I work with, they're big thinkers. And so many of the trendsetters, they're big thinkers. And they have the ability to move past adversity, to move past the roadblocks that could potentially hinder them from being as successful as they could possibly be, by getting in their own head and thinking, I'm never going to be able to be like them. They have the ability to think differently and to know that there is a big path ahead of them that is not going to be limited by anyone other than themselves, other than their own brain whenever it tells them they can't do something.
Yes, and you're right. I just got off of the phone or a Zoom, I should say, with an advisor out west. And I was talking to her about our newest trendsetters that we already are starting to enroll into. And she's like, but who would read my book? Who would read my chapter, right? Taking the weight of the world on them, putting so much pressure on themselves. I'm like, who am I? Like, who are you not to?
Yeah.
Right? Let's shift that dialogue in your head. And I brought up imposter syndrome and she just started to laugh. She's like, yeah, you're right. We face it every single day. I got to ask you, what is a unicorn in the financial industry? You bring this term up in your chapter.
A unicorn. So a unicorn to me is a woman that has been in the industry for 8+ years. So in other words, a female financial advisor that has made it in this industry 8 years or longer and is able to stand up alongside of the rankings of any other individuals that are in this industry, male, mainly is kind of what I'm referring to. So the women of the financial services industry that stack up next to the men of this industry, because there are so few of them. And again, I do refer to them as unicorns just because I don't see them often enough. And when I do, it's like I can't stop looking at them and I want to be around them all the time because I'm just like, let me be a part of this. Let me help you. I want to see you be even better than you already are. You might be a unicorn, but I want you to have like 2 horns and I want you to be able to fly and be different colors and be even more spectacular than you already are. But again, just the underpopulation, being able to find women that have it together, because again, life is so demanding. So it's hard. This industry is so fast paced. It's so competitive.
Yes.
And to find women that are financial advisors that are like, I got this. Those are my unicorns. And I want to be a champion and an advocate for them to help them continue to blaze their path.
Yes. And I feel now more than ever, you can find them in a crowd because they are the ones that are in their own brand. They're in their genuine brand where they're not trying to blend in, trying to be part of the boys club. They are standing out on their own. And it's incredible. So in a sea of male, pale, and stale, we have that bright, hot pink red or orange, or in my case, pink, of course, for two. Another thing you started off in the book, and so good. The introduction of failure as a necessary piece of being a trendsetter, that luck was not on their side. And that goes into that grit. When you said that, luck was not on their side, they had to fight for their spot here.
That's right. And a lot of women, I think, a lot of women that are in financial services, they didn't start there. So they've had other careers that have segued them into the seat that they're in now. And not that they necessarily failed while they were in those seats, but they realized that they didn't have the fulfillment that they now have in the roles that they have as female financial advisors. It wasn't right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's not truly failure, but it is the understanding that you can have with yourself to say there's something else out there for me that's unique and different, and this is not it. Oftentimes it is failure. It does happen. But the reality is just listening to yourself to say, I want something else. This is not it for me.
Yeah. Usually the most success comes from things that you walked away from.
That's right.
Walking away from that, which probably was this huge weight, chains of weight, anchor, frees you up, whether it's a company, a job title, a relationship, so much. Now, we were just talking before, too, there are a lot of themes throughout the chapters of this book and the incredible women who all contributed a chapter to it. One is a heavy one. We've had several women in the book who have lost a parent at a very early age. From Megan, who lost it, she was a toddler and she lost her mother to a drunk driver. Heartbreaking. Erin and Alexa in their early 20s losing a father figure. Oh, father, not even father figure, their father. And it's incredible to see, them having to step up in the family as that core financial person and also at work too. Like thinking back to my 20s, I can't even imagine that getting that huge weight being placed on me, and yet they were able to rise so much. What was it like for you, Leslie, reading through their chapters and hearing their stories?
Well, knowing them prior to reading their stories, knowing them as professional women, a lot of their personalities made a whole lot more sense after I got to read their chapters. What's that? Yeah, yes. Because understanding Alexa, for example, she's so just powerful and well-spoken. And for her, if I hit rewind on her life, the reality is she had so much to overcome and so much responsibility on her shoulders all along, in the good and the bad. She had to stand tall regardless of what was happening around her. And the reality is, these souls are just brave. They're brave women, and they've had the ability to overcome, and they're not the woe is me. They are not the woe is me or feel bad for me. They are absolutely the people that are the pace setters in life, not just business, to be able to overcome and not let life have its way with them. And so it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, knowing them before actually getting to read their chapters, and I knew some of their stories, but not in the depth that we were able to get from Trendsetters. So it makes me even more proud of them for the women that they are, based on the adversity that they've faced and they've been able to overcome.
Yes, and you're right, because when you meet them, they're very put together, very professional, and you don't hear their stories right away, and then it's like you get intimate with them as you're reading their chapters, and they're being very vulnerable with the audience, which I think is, as you said before, so brave of them to do, to put it all out there. And they're not sitting in the story as a victim, but using it to show, we went through this, but it made me stronger as an advisor, as a female in the industry, as a mom, as a daughter, how they were able to rise. Because these stories, ladies, and you'll read them because you're all going to read them. We should do a quick break for everyone to take a look at the book, Leslie.
Let's do it.
Or we get ahead of ourselves, if I can find it. Here we go. What happens when 13 powerhouse women in finance share their stories? You get Financial Trendsetters 2, a bold, inspiring collection from women who are reshaping the financial industry from the inside out. These aren't just advisors, they're creators, connectors, trailblazers. Each chapter reveals the real stories behind their rise, how they're building wealth, redefining leadership, and creating a lasting, iconic legacy. Sharing their real stories of growth, grit, and owning their brilliance. Proceeds from sales of Financial Trendsetters 2 go to support a scholarship for young women entering finance. Available now on Amazon. There you go. Go grab the book. It is officially out. It is a beautiful journey of all these incredible women and the stamps that they are making on the industry and paving the path forward for women like my daughter, Andy Girl, as she comes into the industry, which hopefully one day she will. But we haven't even talked about your own story, Leslie. You also have risen despite adversity growing up, talking about, being brave and overcoming things as well. And you mentioned your older sister, wiser sister, as you say. Diane says, your life makes the most sense when you can see it in reverse order. You, as a young child, you talked about being a latchkey kid at age 6, right? Looking back on your childhood, how do you see it shaping who you are now and being such a strong, independent woman?
I think if you ask anybody that question, they're like, how long do you have? Or get a glass of wine or maybe a Xanax. I don't know.
We need some.
Yeah, no, my childhood definitely shaped me. So I grew up in single parent household. My dad had me on the weekends. My mom was a teacher, and it was a little bit of a mess. I'm not gonna lie. I was maybe I think the term is feral. That's probably the right term. So, but it all worked out. I mean, that's the moral of the story. And a lot of my childhood, it was up to me. And I think that's the best way to frame it. I went to high school. My dad worked in California. I was living with him. He was gone. So a lot of my childhood, I was very independent. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure that would be considered child neglect in today's day and age. So the reality is, again, it all works out. My sister and I always are saying to one another, how did this happen? How were we so normal? Like, I don't understand. It did. But again, I think my childhood, the way that it shaped me was to own myself and to own, of course, God is in control of me, but the things I can own, let me rephrase that. The things I can control, I need to control to my best ability. And that is, who I associate with and how I engage with people and, my work ethic. Those are things that were instilled in me in a way during my childhood that I'm so thankful. So however that happened, I'm very grateful for that path. It may have been a little unique and different, but yes, I have a 7-year-old little boy now, and I know you've got Andy Girl and Mikey, and I can't imagine them coming home without a parent. It's just crazy. The key under the mat, it was a different time. The 80s, obviously a lot different than 2025. But, life is different for all of us. We all have a different story. And I do think mine shaped me in a way to, again, be responsible for the person that I am and control the things that I can control. And then the rest I have to give to God.
Yeah, the independence and probably be very resourceful too at such a young age has led you to being so successful, constantly catering to the people that you are supporting as well and finding a way, right? There's a roadblock. We're going to find a way to overcome it every single time. Another piece that I thought was very endearing was your father's work-life balance.
Yes.
You were brought to a lot of events, of his work events, yep. And you might have hated it or might have loved some of it growing up, but you seem to have brought that in now with your son Brewer being 7. And there was one post, and I mentioned this in my newest book that'll be coming out next year. Haven't told anybody about it yet. But there was a post that caught my eye, and you were on a business trip, and then you do picture slides of the work event. And then the last picture of you with your son at the zoo, and you're like, I made it back in time to chaperone his school field trip. And that even talking like an emotional thing about like you, and I see this happen, like, I'm going to catch the earlier flight, or I'm going to catch the late flight instead of having to stay over so I can get home. Like, you make it work. I don't know how you do it, Leslie.
I'll try. I definitely tried to show up. And yes, my dad, I went to a lot of events that children were probably not supposed to be a part of, and, sit up straight and don't talk. And again, it was a great experience, and I got to be with my dad. So I'm very grateful for those opportunities. But for me, it's been philanthropic. So how can I incorporate my son into my give back mission that I have through FIG? And we have a nonprofit called GIFT, which stands for Give, Invest, Feed, Teach. And really our core focus is children and financial literacy and food insecurity. So my ability to give back through gift has allowed me to bring my son into a lot of those opportunities to volunteer within our community. So it's kind of like a work, give back balance. And I get to bring him. He even has a gift shirt. FIG's given him a gift shirt. A couple months ago for Easter, we had a peep jar in our office, and you had to guess how many peeps were in the jar. My son won. I was like, oh my gosh, because I brought him into the office and he guessed. But you're just having him a part of my life. And I think as professionals, a lot of times we silo those things off. But my job is my passion. My family is my passion. And for those two to collide, it is a wonderful balance and ability to live a life and not feel a burden of a job, to feel the passion of leaving a legacy, and for my son to see the opportunities that I have to serve the advisors and our community. So I think it's really special.
And it ties right into the theme of the book, Iconic Legacy, right? You are shaping that next generation of, we get to work, not we have to work, we get to work, right? There's a privilege to be able to do what we do and love it. We get to give back, and giving back looks in so many different ways, whether it's money or it's time, right? It's sweat. And I see you there, you're building playgrounds, you're packing backpacks, doing such incredible things. And it's something, we're definitely going to be trying to do more of. I love when my kids get to see everything that we're building. And it's not in a virtual world, but when at our events, when they all can come together and they get to see it and they know right, kids always love coming to the office. Who's going to be there today? Who's going to be there? What desk can I go to? It's incredible. We can start to blend those worlds and give them that experience, because that's the confidence too, right?
Yes.
That confidence and the gratitude. We're very blessed for what we have. Well, it's part of the time of the show. We're doing something new this season where we are going to pick somebody for whoever comments on our YouTube video of this video. You get entered into a raffle to win some Pink Fix merch, like our fun trucker hat here, the softest hoodies you've ever felt. So let's take a look. Welcome to the Pink Fix Shop, where rebels, trailblazers, and legacy builders find their voice in every sip, stitch, and page. From best-selling tees to manifesting mugs, every item is designed to spark conversation and celebrate your story. Start building your legacy in style, only at pinkfixproductions.com. So go to YouTube, comment on this, you'll get entered. We are going to post at pinkfixmymoney every week on Instagram who is the lucky winner of the merch for the week. So much fun. Well, Leslie, what are you most looking forward to with this season of Women Behind the Millions?
Ooh, I am so looking forward to watching and listening to all the interviews from all of the trendsetters, because I have no doubt that we're going to learn even more about these ladies, their stories, and their paths forward.
What was it like bringing these women together for the book to being the lead author?
Well, you started this whole conversation with the response that I got from a lot of them, which was, I don't have a story to tell, or no one wants to hear my story. Yeah, right. They all have a story. And, the reality is I did have to do some convincing for some of these ladies, because it can be a bit intimidating to think about writing a chapter in a book. But given this was my third time, and I've had the ability to really just experience the whole writing process with you and the rest of the team, I did some pretty solid convincing to say, you got this. But I think it's like becoming a part of a sorority. And that's the best way I know how to explain this to the women that I've spoken to over the years is, these relationships that you build with women that are part of Trendsetters or Trendsetters too, they're going to last a really long time. And, these type of professional relationships are very special. So it was great.
You are. Well, thank you so much for spearheading this incredible book and launching us off in such a positive way for our new season. We have one more question for you, and you know what it is.
What makes you a woman behind the millions?
What makes me a woman behind the millions? My ability to have a voice in the financial services industry and encourage other women to lead makes me a woman behind the millions.
Ooh, good answer. Good answer, Leslie. Well, thank you so much for being on again, Women Behind the Millions, and spearheading, being the lead author of Financial Trendsetters 2.0. These incredible women, all with building these iconic legacies. I just love it. The limitlessness of this project.
Thank you for having me so much. It's good to be with you, Jess.
And we will see you all next week on another episode of our show featuring one of our trendsetters. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching Money Queens. We'll see you next week. Hey, Money Queens, looking to get your wealth to that next level, 7, 8, 9 figures? Follow us on Instagram at PinkFixMyMoney and at Women's Wealth Boutique for more millionaire money tips.